What if someone you lost who had died returned? This episode of AFTERBUZZ TV is brought to you by the powerful and riveting new drama, Resurrection. You won't be able to stop watching or talking about it. Resurrection premiering on Sunday night, March 9th at 9/8 Central, only on ABC.
Mr. Langston, did your son go missing, sir? I haven't. He's okay.
My son died 32 years ago.
What if someone you lost returned?
Daddy!
Honey, who is it?
Jacob. I'm coming home.
The television series event begins.
You're not the only one, there's others.
Tell the world.
Resurrection. Series premieres Sunday, March 9th on ABC.
You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Helix After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Helix After Show.
Hey there, Helix fans. Oh yeah. It's such a great song. I mean, how can we not boogie? Everybody, it's the Helix After Show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. We're so happy to be doing it. We got Season 1, Episode 8, Bloodline. I am Matt Lieberman. Joining me on the panel, as always, of course, fantastic Miss Liz Rishmawy.
Hey, everyone.
Mr. Zach Wilson.
Thank you for tuning in.
Stephen Lemieux on the ones and twos.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah, and then we have a very special guest today. Mr. Neil Napier is here. He plays Dr.Peter Farragut on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So glad you could do the show. Now, folks at home, I know we said last week in the last episode we would be doing a taping with Mark Ganame on Friday. Unfortunately, scheduling shifted because Neil killed him. Thankfully, though, he came back to life, and we're going to be speaking with him on Wednesday, so pay attention to that. I don't know what you did wrong, man. Maybe he's one of the Silver Eyes.
Maybe.
Maybe
I just infected him.
Yeah.
Theories are afoot.
Theories abound. So we apologize for that inconvenience, but we're going to be talking to him on Wednesday, talking to Neil today. But first, I just want to throw it over to some great folks in the booth. I think we got Dario and Marissa in the booth talking about a great new show coming to ABC.
Hey, AfterBuzz fans! Before we continue with tonight's after shows, we want to talk to you about a new show on ABC called Resurrection. It has a really interesting premise to it, actually. What if someone you lost who had died appeared on your doorstep?
Like a grandfather, mother, father, anyone you had lost had died.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't that really completely freak you out?
Yeah.
Well, that's what's happening in Arcadia, Missouri. The story is about 8-year-old Jacob who reunites with his parents after 32 years.
Yeah, and the thing is, Jacob had died 32 years ago in this tragic accident. He drowned. And Omar Epps, who plays the immigration agent, he helps bring the child back to his parents, played by Kurtwood Smith, Red from That 70s Show, and Francis Fisher, great actors.
Yeah, but wouldn't you have a lot of questions if they appeared on your doorstep? I mean, like, what were they doing? Where did they come from? How did they fit back into this world? What's moved on since they've come back into this world?
Yeah, how do you come back to a world that has kept moving on, and how do you assimilate yourself back into that kind of lifestyle? I mean, what is making this child come back? What happened?
Yeah, I feel like there's so many questions that need to be answered, but it's what I kind of like about it is that it's not your typical zombie or aliens type of show. It's something totally different.
Yeah, and I've seen the trailers for the show. It looks really good. Drama, heart-wrenching, heartwarming. It's about family and friends and finding out those mystery questions of why these people are coming back.
Well, you know what? I think I'm going to have a party, and you can come over. You bring the popcorn and some sodas. I'll have the movie screen, and we will watch Resurrection on March 9th on ABC at 9 p.m.
That sounds fun. I know where I'm definitely going to be.
Once again, that's March 9th. It starts on ABC at 9 p.m., 8 p.m. Central.
I'll be there.
So will I.
All right. Thank you guys for telling us about that show. We're excited about it. But we are here to talk about Helix, another amazing show, which just keeps getting better every week. Like when I was watching it today, and the day 8 came up, I got chills because I was so stoked. Like every week, that day counter just gets more. Like I just get all juiced. I'm like, what's gonna happen today? Do you know what I mean?
Well, just a good reminder too that like we've been here for a week, only a week, but like at the same time, an entire week has gone by.
Yeah,
and so much has happened.
Oh yeah.
You know, like remember the good old days? We had Doreen. Sergio was like clearly
there was some
a dick.
flirtation going on.
There were monkeys.
There were monkeys.
Yeah.
Do you remember the monkeys?
I remember monkeys, and now there ain't been any monkeys. Mark tweeted this awesome shirt that he got. Did you guys see it?
Yeah,
it was like, where the hell is my monkey?
Oh my god.
We all got those.
You all got those?
Yeah, they sent us up. Where the hell is my monkey t-shirt?
Matt is so jealous of you.
I'm so beyond impossibly jealous. I would wear that shirt all day, every day. Not an exaggeration.
And he would never shower or bathe or wash
Well,
it.
that's an exaggeration.
Well, that's just plain normal for Matt, anyway.
That's just flat out libel. Okay?
Did I scare you with my voice of God?
A little bit. So I want to start by talking about Julia. She rejoined the group last week, at the end of last week, and now she's like fun and fancy free. She's eaten up a storm. She's got this devil-may-care attitude.
She freaks them all out into thinking something's actually wrong, and the music got like really super dramatic.
I totally said that bitch after that. I was like, are you serious? Are you serious?
I laughed my behind off.
Not
I thought
cool.
that was so funny.
Not cool.
But like, here's the amazing thing. It's just like all of a sudden she has a sense of humor. Like we had Kira in the studio last week, and you know, very lovely, very funny, great, you know, great person. She hasn't been able to play those notes yet on the show, and you've gotten to work with her a lot, Neil. What do you think about, you know, sort of like this change in her character, and like, I don't know what. This is 2 questions, so I'm going to ask you that, and then I'm going to ask you another one.
All right.
All right.
I love the little turn. It's nice to get things are pretty heavy on the bass, right? Like it's always pretty tense, so it's nice to get a moment of levity there. And I thought it was a blast. I loved that scene. It was great for Kira to be able to flex those muscles a little bit because she's a really accomplished actor, as you guys know.
Right.
And she doesn't get a lot of opportunity for levity in the show. So
totally.
Yeah, she really enjoyed doing that scene, and I enjoyed watching it. So
okay, so that kind of brings me to the second question. We talked to her a little bit about, you know, the origins of the affair, and I assume that we're going to get more of it as the show goes on, but this was the first time that I felt like I understand what would draw these 2 people together.
Draw Peter and
Peter and Julia together, because, you know, Peter's kind of, he's got the sense of humor. He's more of a rascal. I feel in like the brief glimpses that we get, I feel like you infuse that.
I feel like I when I was talking about it was that I feel that Alan was more in love with the brain of Julia, and like, you know, how smart she was. Not saying anything about that, but like Peter was more the person who probably was like her emotional go-to and everything like that. He was more, you know.
Yeah, we talked about that a lot, and I mean, I think some of the backstory comes out in the dialogue. I mean, between Peter and Alan. I think in episode 4, when I'm on my deathbed for the first time of many.
Right.
And we talk about how Peter was more the mascot, you know, he was the one who was deflecting attention from the alcoholic dad, and actually in that way saved his older brother. Do you know what I mean? But he is a bit more of a scamp, a bit more of a risk taker, a little more cavalier than Alan. And we see I think it was episode 6 that we saw the hallucinations that Julia has of Peter. And we thought that's exactly how Julia saw Peter, and she saw Peter not now at the time we are at the base, but 2 years prior when the last time
you were so dapper.
Yes,
we talked about that in that episode. We're like, and how handsome!
He's so handsome.
Yeah, we had no idea.
I was trying so hard to play the handsome out through the veins, and I guess I just didn't nail that.
Well, it's hard when it looks like you're actively breaking down into mitochondria or something.
That makeup.
Well, what I'm really curious about is because of the way that sort of banter that you guys have this, now that we got this light version of Julia that we're seeing glimpses of, like, when I saw it, my first thought was, this is a symptom. This is the virus that they're like saying, no, everything's fine. It's like, no, she's behaving differently, at least that we've seen of her.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to tell you anything about what I think about that, other than even just the relative change. I don't know if you've ever been hungover.
Yeah.
You know when you.
Let me ask a bunch of 20-something on the panels. Have you ever been hungover, guys?
You know when you finally feel better, and just how awesome it feels to feel better again, or when you've had a bad flu and then just the relative change of wanting to blow my brains out and then feeling better again. I'm pretty happy about it. So I'm going to put it down to that right now for Julia.
Right.
But I feel like it's such an acute case of being high on life. Like, I would just call what she is, like, right, she's jazzed. Like,
jazz.
Yeah, you know, like, do you
Jazzy
know?
Julia.
Yeah, but you know what I mean when I say that? Like, just like, everything's going right, you feel amazing, food tastes better, the sound of the world sounds like music, it's almost like she's high or something, and I feel like part of that comes from whatever she is now. You know, we don't have a name for these silver eyes, we've been saying Super Saiyans.
I've been saying Super Saiyans.
I think I coined it, but let's go ahead and say it's a midlife crisis for Julia. Silver eyes are a definite side effect of midlife crisis.
Right. It's not a sign of midlife crisis. It's what it is, and this is me making a huge prediction, but I feel like if I'm not right, then the sky is green or something, because I can't be wrong about this. No, the silver eyes, I didn't even hear what you said, because I'm going to roll right into my point, because I am a goddamn steamroller.
Damn.
The silver-eyed people, for some reason, are invulnerable, or perhaps immortal, or what have you, but I think also the eating is a huge part of it, not just because she was eating these rations down there and was starving, but
She's eating Cheese Whiz.
Well, when your immune system and your body is working at that capacity, I feel like it would require far more fuel than the average person.
But absolutely. I feel like that's a good point, but at the same time, we haven't really seen the other characters like that eating like tons and tons of food.
We haven't seen like Hatake be like, oh,
but
everything.
I will say one thing is, remember the line that Sutton says to Hatake when he sees the picture of Julia? You would give up your own people for that freak, that monstrosity. What it really kind of means is maybe there are two different types of beings, and there are the silver eyes and there are the humans, and the virus is to thin out the humans or whatever, but maybe Julia is just the offspring of Hatake and a human. You never...
Yeah, that's the other question I have, because it's like, you know, so Sutton's been saying stuff about, I've been waiting so long, and after all these years, they had some sort of relationship before. And then you look at this picture of Julia, and it's like, are they aging? Do the silver eyes people age? Now, I don't think it's fair because Hatake is Japanese and like they're ageless. But you know, I'm just saying, man. That's not right. That's a compliment. Damn it. But I'm just saying,
does not reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV.
I'm just saying. Is very ageless in everything that he's ever played in, and when you look at the picture of him with Julia, I mean, the character of Julia is probably in her 30s,
right?
So you have to figure, if it was 30 years ago, he looks exactly the same. When did he get inflicted with the silver eyes?
He didn't get inflicted. He was born that way.
You're assuming.
There's a reason why Constance considers Julia a freak versus Hatake, who has always been a member of this community. Here's how it is. First of all, not his natural-born daughter. I think she's one of the children who was totally stolen from the various communities, raised her as a daughter. He already did it with a son, Daniel, had to give her up for some reason. I think
his name is Mixa.
His name is Mixa. My huge...
I'm back on the clone bandwagon.
You're back on the clone bandwagon?
I'm back on the clone bandwagon. Look, we know that he lost a daughter. That's not a plot point that's just there to forget about.
Yeah.
We know it's important. They wouldn't have brought it up if it's not.
Where did the burns come from on his bio that we previously saw before? He mentioned Kyoto, and, you know, I don't know. And then
but we know that she was raised in this lab environment. That means she was closely studied. Now we know that she is some kind of biological
that's why she's
freak.
The freak, you feel?
I think she is a clone that was then of his daughter that was then infused with some kind of RNA sequence that either led her down this life or led her to be being prone to the silver because she wasn't a freak before.
I'm gonna
until she was. Well, that's what.
Yeah,
that's what
I know.
Sutton
she's a
calls
freak
her.
now.
I know.
I'm using Sutton.
I know. I've been throwing out lots of
I
theories.
like just looking at
but
Neil's face
I
the entire
know.
time as he's just like, because he knows
You
things.
guys are blowing my mind.
Matt, let me say some
Yes,
stuff.
you, Stephen, because I've said a lot.
I have to like raise my hand and wave from the
Okay,
very
okay.
Oh, that's my camera. All right. I don't know. I think that if we can. I still don't think it's clones. No matter what we do, it's not clones, guys.
Yeah.
Get out of here with that.
Yep.
Nope.
I still think we might have a chance with that fusion coming back from level R, and then we find out in the previews that there's a deeper level than that we don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
So previous experiments gone wrong. Where are all the children gone? That's the children gone.
Okay.
Let me finish. Montana is like when you see her hallucination, she's in this log cabin, and that kind of insinuates that it's still in this cold environment. And maybe Montana wasn't even her going to Montana. Maybe the person who helped her escape from the lab was like, to comfort her, was like, where are we going? We're going to Montana. We're going to Montana. And the cabin is just where they holed up after they escaped.
But it wasn't after they escaped. They would go there every summer. She would go there every summer with someone who claimed to be her mother. Whether that's true or not, we don't know.
For a doctor's checkup.
Listen, I'm going to say, if she is a clone, she was designed to either become human or to not have to be one of these silver-eyed things, whatever they are. We have to come up with a firm name for them. Or
she was another one of Hatake's spin-off experiments that he was never supposed to do.
What is it called? The something experiment? Or the
Willis hypothesis?
The Willis hypothesis.
But like, because she keeps talking about the Willis hypothesis, and like
Constance,
so we know that Hatake goes off the rails. We know he does stuff that he's not supposed to. So what if Julia was an experiment that he wasn't supposed to do? He wasn't supposed to try to splice human DNA with silver DNA.
Maybe.
Now Julia wasn't supposed to cheat on me with my brother either.
Yeah.
And the other thing I keep, and I know you can't tell us, but will we soon find out who T is?
Who T is? That I mentioned in the first
Kira told us to ask you that.
Will we find out this season?
I can't remember. I spent a lot of time like underwater and in wetsuits and on gurneys. I was kind of like sleeping most of the time. So,
can you tell us about that scene with when they fill the suit up with water? Like, how was that filming that?
Yeah.
What did they do?
We shot that in two different ways. We shot me in the suit, and then we shot me in a bathtub. And they had a little GoPro in the side of the bathtub, and an RA, the main camera, over top. And we just said, fill it up. So they started filling the bathtub up. And I was like, I've never done this before in my life. I don't know how this is going to go. And so
was it tinted dyed blue?
No, they did it afterwards. It was just regular water. And it was a really weird, kind of vulnerable experience because I had never before had to be breathing underwater.
Right. Well, you have to be, you're lying completely still. There's no opportunity to take a breath during a take.
No, and then halfway through it, I realized that I'm like breathing it in. I'm like, well, if I'm breathing all this liquid into my lungs, it would be forcing all the air out.
Sure.
So at one point, I just let all the air go out. And then I'm like, now I have to look like I can breathe under this. But I'm actually, I can feel my heart in my ears. And like, I'm just so brilliantly blown all the air out of my lungs. For art, man. And so I just stayed under as long as I could until I could hear my heart in my head. And but I mean, I was only under 3 inches of water, so it wasn't really dangerous.
Was that episode 6 or 5 that they did that in?
I don't know.
Was that last episode? Or?
6.
It was 6.
It was 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so
it was 6.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
6.
So are the rumors true that there was actually another actor who died in that take, so they had to recast and refilm all 6? No.
Yeah, but I'm not supposed to talk about that.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, that on his IMDb or like Wikipedia page, and like, unfortunately, in 3 inches of water, Neil Napier.
So we got a clone.
Succumbed to
I'm actually a clone.
The first 6 episodes of this series is dedicated to Neil Napier.
Yeah, that's sweet.
He leaves behind a legacy of a wife and
And cats.
And a Twitter account.
And 2 cats.
2 cats and a Twitter account.
A Twitter account.
It's run by a bot.
And now, as Neil Napier thinks in stark clarity about his life, I'm going to quickly talk about iTunes. Don't skip this because I'm going to tell you everything that's going on in this episode as well. Because here's the thing, folks. We put out, I think, a quality program. One of the finest available on the topic of Helix. We have fun. You have fun. We get all the theories. They get increasingly bat poop because I'm trying not to curse.
I hope that's true.
Yeah. And we get great guests like Neil.
Yeah.
Like Mark coming up on Wednesday.
Kira.
Like Kira.
Kat.
Like Kat on the phone. We're trying to make this the best show that we possibly can. So what can you do to give back? We'd really appreciate your support. Go to iTunes and slap the show with a rating. Give it a review. It only takes a second. We're not looking for Shakespeare. We love 5-star ratings.
Wherefore art thou, Romeo?
Is that your Alan doing
Juliet?
Alan doing Juliet?
I saw Alan doing A Winter's Tale playing King Leontes yesterday down in San Diego.
Really?
And he was fantastic.
That's awesome.
And fully on voice, I'll have you know.
Sweet. It's so weird how different his speaking voice is. We're going to get to that.
Okay.
But my point is, just go there. It only takes a second. You know, we here at AfterBuzz TV, we put out 68 hours of free content a week. It's a crazy, staggering amount of content. You know, we come into your lives, maybe come into ours for a hot second. It makes us feel better. And
a little dirty.
No, it isn't.
Talking about Alan doing Juliet, and then talking about
it's not what we're doing here. This is a clean show. I don't want to get the explicit rating on iTunes again. But in any case, just go.
It really does make our day. Like whenever you tweet at us, whenever you give us a review and we see it, something positive, it really just like. I know Matt's face lights up. My face lights up.
It makes me happy, but it also it allows our show to be more easily searchable on iTunes. It's how we got in the new and noteworthy section. It lets our bosses know that we're doing a good job. And I just want to read some new reviews from the last week. Lilith Colbert writes, "Poet, Princess of Nothing." That's the title of the review. If you want to get really clever with these, I am stoked. Okay. She's Spectral Helix L on Twitter. We did her song.
Her, she's awesome.
She's awesome. This podcast is beyond awesome. Commentary ranges from intelligent to complete crack in equal measure, and really gives you a great insight on this, to the show. Oh, and thank you for featuring my song, Monkey Power. Love that.
I'll do Power Man.
Please do.
I'll do it as Matt Lieberman.
Great.
All right. So.
Here we go.
Power Man 77 is a really amazing podcaster. She really likes our podcast, and she already listens to our Sherlock and Almost Human and Scandal. And you know what? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I host Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so I really like that you like our podcast as well. But, you know, you can just go ahead and spread some of that stated watching Helix just because of the podcast all over this bread and butter of Helix. Love the work you guys do.
Also monkeys.
Girls, keep it up. Monkeys!
That did sound just like him.
He did a brilliant job, but not as great as Billy Campbell.
It was weird
as King
because
Leontes.
I was sitting here next to Matt, and he was talking, but his lips weren't moving.
Yeah.
We actually pre-recorded
It was uncanny.
Okay, so now back to the show, but first I have to know, so his voice is so completely different from the voice that he does on the show. Is that strange? It really took us by surprise when we heard his speaking voice at the premiere.
When you heard Billy speaking.
because he's doing a gruff voice on the show, but he's got this very rich, melodious voice in person.
Yeah, I kind of like the vulnerability of his. It's always on the verge of cracking.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's something I like about it. I don't know, it drives some people a little batty, but I don't know. I think it serves the character. It serves the tension he's under.
It's kind of a way of showing his repression in a very active way, where we're coming to terms with it every time that he speaks, but it's not he's not shoving that in our face. But I think it's very firmly, a sign that this is someone who's always almost on the breaking point, but is so obsessed with control, driven by the backstory with the father, perhaps. Did you two talk at all about your family history or about your time together?
Well, we didn't talk really specifically about the relationship with the. I mean, it's in the text and the scenes that we talk about it in. It's I think there's enough information about it. We focus more on just kind of getting our relationship going. And in a lot of ways, Billy's and my relationship is analogous to like my relationship with my older brother. And we really fell into that younger brother, older brother dynamic really quickly, which is a bit of a pain when you're strapped down to a gurney and he's hovering over you for hours on end. So,
which is great.
Yeah, there were some hairy moments where I actually couldn't reach up and hit him. Which is probably a good thing also because he's like 6'4". So
did you ever do any takes just trying to make you crack up? Because I can just imagine the
yeah, but I'm a professional, man. Like you just can't get in.
What are you gonna? Are you gonna assail the man's character when he comes to our show? Come on.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a professional.
It's a little harder in television because you're flying along at a real clip, you know, and it's really kind of precious the takes that we have. So we try not to get in each other's way unless it just happens. I mean, funny things happen, and then we can get real goofy. Shooting films, bigger like films, tend to have more takes per scene, so you can kind of goof around a bit more.
Yeah.
But no, he didn't go out of his way to try to get me to crack or get me to corpse. But it just happens sometimes.
Yeah, because I'm just imagining you're supposed to be like in a coma and him just saying things and you're trying not to like laugh or anything.
Yeah, or him getting pretty personal with me and getting a finger between my ribs or other places.
Well, he's trying to save your life.
You're trying to avoid the explicit rating, Neil.
Listen, last week we had Kira
Matt.
How do you work with him every
telling
week?
us about.
I don't know how they work with
Matt. Last year we had Kira telling us about what
last year.
Last week.
Okay.
We had. It said last week.
He said last year.
I'm tired. But no, Kira was talking us. He's talking about explicit, but Kira was telling us about the actor, the director saying, "Okay, she's I."
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, I'm trying to avoid that. Let's get back on topic.
I had a really good director. I won't tell you.
Oh.
No, you'll get a bad rating.
Okay. We'll get it later. Screw the rating. So Hatake is now kind of firmly in opposition with Constance. We find out that they may have been lovers in the past.
Oh, they were.
That they were lovers.
They were together. She
Silver
got him a
eyes
watch.
often do.
Well, I love that he killed her with the watch.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
Oh, yeah.
There were some parts he replaced.
Yeah,
One
exactly.
of them was a Garrett.
As soon as they revealed the watch, I was like, Bond watch.
Nice.
I think I yelled it actually at the TV.
I'm yelling at TV a lot.
I like doing it.
Yeah.
Turkey's ins.
You used a super accurate sound device to yell Bond watch at the TV.
Exactly. We had a lot of fun with Alan and Sarah this week. Although, okay, I understand you're being driven to the breaking point, but it's still to me kind of a leap that Alan's like, we have to kill Constance.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that was. It was mandatory, but it was just such a leap for him, for his character. He hasn't really shown any, we need to kill people.
He's never actively wished violence on anyone except for Sergio, and that was for killing Doreen.
But she has now threatened Julia's life, and now he's realizing that I think he quickly realizes that it's going to be a her or them situation.
Yeah,
okay.
because he did say, that means that she's going to be, well, no, after he spoke with Hatake, and he came to realize, oh, crap, she's going to be experimented on, and, she's probably going to be a prisoner for the rest of her life as they try to do all these experiments on her, and that's when it came to that. Laughing though at that point though, because when they were talking about the chemicals they needed to get, I just thought of Stephen because it shows awkward window again with the soldier guy just standing out there what are they talking about?
I couldn't stop thinking about that as I watched it.
Awkward window.
Because I'm like, at this point they know they're up to stuff.
I'm in the awkward window. Guys.
Yeah, exactly. Steven's got this.
You guys better mute your mic because I'm in the awkward window. You want me to know you're talking to each other.
Exactly. He
don't let him know.
I know. I mean, wouldn't he also have a switch to be able to turn it back on in his little observation room?
Ridiculous suggestion.
I guess you're right. That's just poor construction.
It's like, hey guys. I know what ammonium nitrate is, and I know what explosives are. We're just going to go in there and shoot you. Just a heads up.
Yeah, he's concerned about what they're going to get, with the dextrose, but he doesn't check what they have in the lab.
I'm just, how did would he freaking fiddle around with wires and chemicals enough in a microscope for them not to notice that he was doing something with wires in a microscope?
Sarah
He's
stands
Dr.
in.
Alan Farragut.
Yeah,
He knows this stuff.
He's a man of action.
MacGruber!
They basically do MacGyver the hell out of this thing. I don't know how it creates a spark to these wires, because it's literally she just turns a knob and the wires are on the knob.
She was turning the knob so the microscope would zoom in, which would in turn make the metal plates push the wires together to complete the circuit.
But that doesn't make sense why the wires were sticking out.
Boom.
That's why he's smart. It makes sense because as she turned them, it moved the metal plate closer,
thus completing the circuit.
He learned it in Batman school. He just failed because his voice wasn't deep enough. Ben Affleck got the job.
I know.
Oh, God.
Billy Campbell would make a seriously cool grizzled Batman.
He would.
I would be so down for that.
You down to be Robin, Neil?
I'm all over Robin. When do you see me in some green tights, man?
Yes. No. Do it old school where he didn't wear tights. It was just the bare legs.
Just the bare legs and the green
green slipper.
Nice.
The
Bagrini.
The Bagrini.
Nice. Yeah, I'd rock that, man.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Yeah.
But keep the
Billy,
beard.
if you ever watch this, you're Batman, I'm your Robin.
Okay.
Putting that out there in the universe.
In the tale of Eat That Apple.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
That's
our boy band. Mark's and my boy band.
Oh, sweet.
Our big hit single is Eat That Apple.
I'm down with that. What were you going to say, Zach?
I have a kind of a wild theory I want to throw out before we move too far away from the Hatake and Constance thing. All we get is she loved him, not that they were lovers. What if it's more like she is not maybe a biological daughter, but a similar like raised by Hatake situation?
When you say she loved him, are you talking about Julia?
No, he's talking about Constance. Yeah,
So
but that Julia is, that's what I'm thinking, is that she's one of the adopted daughters.
Yeah, that she was sort of raised and trained by Hatake, and this is more of a father betrayal sort of situation.
So like Julia and Sutton are like half sisters kind of deal?
Well, like adopted sisters.
Adopted sort of.
Rubbing the beard.
That's interesting.
What was it that he said about her?
You're
a shell of a woman I used to love.
He said he tried to show her the real way.
Yeah.
And she says that we all took a vow to orchestrate the newer race, which means they were trying to create a master race.
Right. You know, the big question, really, what is the Willis hypothesis?
Yep.
And I want to know, now that she's out of, now that her
commission.
She's out of commission. We'll say it that because I think they're going to come back. But I want to know who's going to be the next, like, quote unquote bad guy, because up to this point we've had Sergio, who we're still now thinking that there's something more to his character, that he's not all bad, and we had Daniel, who obviously is going through changes, and and Hatake isn't like 100% bad. So now who's going to be the new big bad? Who's now in charge of Ilaria?
Well,
I think I'm looking right at him.
Neil, would you like to address the allegations that you're ultimately going to be the villain of this piece?
I'm in a previously juicy Rackle suit right now, which is now.
It's called progress.
It's called progress. Yes. Now,
Would you like some water, Neil? Are you okay?
Oh no, I'm good. I'm better. Thank you.
Can we see your throat? We just want to make sure it's not like wiggling.
Hold on. So
I grew the beard to cover it.
Here's the thing, right? If all of the heads that are out in the ice are all members of the Ilaria Corporation that Hatake potentially has beheaded and put down there for safekeeping, then Constance was far from the first person to show up. And it also begs the question, why did they want Dr. Havit? And I feel like Hatake at some point in the past killed Dr. Havit, covered it up, and then somehow leveraged it into running our Arctic biosystems himself so that he can start this.
That could have been it.
What if Dr. Havit knew the cure, so Hatake had to kill him to prevent it from getting to Ilaria, and that's why he put his head on ice, and that's why they wanted his head, because he's still alive.
But why would it, but if I feel like if Hatake really didn't want something to be found out, why bother even icing his? Oh wait, no, because he'd come back. We think
because he could come back.
I was assuming that the heads were the people that had formerly been in Hatake's position, and that Constance's addition to it was more of the like, I'm running this now. You don't get like he's where his head would be.
Probably.
I'm putting her.
You're probably right.
That too.
But as soon as he cut off her head, I'm like, of course they are reverse Highlanders. They are. First
there
of
can
all,
be only many.
Yeah, exactly. There can't be one. There has to be many. And when you cut their head off, the head can regrow the body unless it's on ice.
So we're saying they're all starfish.
Yes.
Or Namex.
Was anyone else expecting it to blink?
No.
When the head went into the jar.
Oh, yeah, because her eyes were open.
Oh, that would have been really cool.
Yeah.
But it was cool enough
I wish,
also.
well, no, yeah, but I kind of just like, I kind of wish that if her face or something moved, we would have known that, okay, there's a hunch they are still alive.
Right. Okay, we got a few more things I want to talk about, then we're just going to move more into a general interview place. I want to talk about the vectors. Before we talk about Mixa and Anana, one of the opening shots of this episode, Vector climbing through the vents, peers down into the to the room where the three of them are. Now he's looking, and inside of Sarah and in Alan, they show
the view behind what they see.
Their nervous system.
Wait, I didn't even see this scene. What?
Yeah, it's the very beginning before the happy music.
Before the happy music, he looks down and
vectors have X-ray vision.
Yeah, Sarah and Alan, you can see their nervous system glowing versus Julia, who there's no glow. And I'm pretty sure, I watched it back, I'm pretty sure it's the nervous system. I don't know what you guys thought it was. It wasn't the skeleton, it wasn't the muscles.
Well, you saw the muscles a little bit. You saw, like, because it showed...
the part that glowed, it was either the circulatory system or the nervous system. I'd like to think it was the nervous system.
I'd have to look again.
Yeah.
Wait, but they didn't show a scene. Did they show a scene where it looked at Julia and it showed...
looked at the three of them. It was a very quick
shot.
shot.
Oh, because Julia was in there. That's right.
Yeah, it's a very quick shot. Two of them glowing. She's not. And it makes me wonder, right, what makes a Silver Eyes different biologically? Because there's something that the vectors actively notice or can't see. They're programmed to wipe out anything that has this glowing stuff inside.
Matt, I have an idea.
Please.
So when they study her blood, like usually you overlook what's not there as opposed to overlooking what's there.
Right.
And Sarah keeps saying there's no antibodies, there's no immune deficiencies, there's none of this. What if they just don't have an immune system? Like, what if what they're viewing is like the immune system? And because you don't need it when you have this immortal thing.
Right,
like,
when you're replicating on a cellular level.
Yeah, you don't need that. And plus, like, an interesting thing was when Hatake showed his eyes, and when Julia showed her eyes to that one that was close or eye effing her, it ran away as if something was like threatening it, like it was an immune system attacking a virus.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm glad I grew a beard for this, so I can stroke it
when you're deep in thought. Yeah. It's just something to think about. I imagine we're going to get more answers as time goes on, but it was the first time that we saw from their perspective, and that they actively see Silver Eyes as biologically different. They can tell even in their very stunted mental state. You know, we were talking early on in the season about there being a hive mind to the infected, to the vectors.
I'm curious. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh, no, I was just going to say it seems like we're getting more towards that now that we're seeing intelligence from the vectors.
Yeah, but the other thing is like, okay, so Peter was sick. And you know, there were people who were dying from being infected, but then even as a vector, when he was on the move and everything, and I totally called the Venom thing when he climbed crazy into the vents in one of the earlier episodes.
Right.
You know, are these vectors now just permanently crazy monster vectors, but they're not sick, they're not deteriorating, they're not dying? Like, that's what I'm confused about at this point, because it seems...
You're asking, are they zombies?
Yeah, like, are they permanently in this state where they're just constantly searching, trying to infect people, or will they eventually get sick and die?
We don't know, but in the previews we see Neil's character actually like doing a kind of a I Am Legend-ish thing, like as the leader of the things.
It was awesome because he's all like, hey, you know,
you know, I've never seen that movie.
Oh, so good.
Wait, was that Neil or was that Peter?
That was Alan.
Oh, okay. All right, so we're going to talk more about that. We're going to put a pin in that and talk about that as we get a bit further on. We got to talk about Mixa, Inanna, Sergio. Inanna and Sergio, just why can't these two crazy kids just settle down already? Build a snow fort and just live in there and be happy, because it's obvious that they're going to.
They want to build a snowman.
Yeah.
Aww. Is that a euphemism?
No, it's from.
It's a
Disney
reference
movie.
to Frozen.
But
completely the other direction.
Sounds like a euphemism.
So
Let's make it one.
Daniel's having a bit of an identity crisis. He realizes the truth that he was kidnapped as a boy. It's a big deal.
That would mess anyone up.
Yeah, he's really PO'd at Hatake, and he just wants, he doesn't know what he wants, right? He wants to keep Inanna safe when he's told to wipe her out, but he has no loyalty to Hatake. He's just trying to weather out this situation as best he can so that he can take the time to make a proper judgment about what he actually does want.
Wasn't there a scene though that he was talking to Inanna and it's like, I can't go with you because like he raised me and I have to there's still work for me to be done here. What was that scene? I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, it was as he was letting her out into the snow.
Why he couldn't go
He helped
with her.
create this situation. He's not going to just leave it to end how it ends.
Yeah, basically. He's probably trying to find out more answers as well to like what's going on in the story of him too.
I think Daniel's quite loyal and honorable, and the sense of honor, I think, really works powerfully within him. So
absolutely,
it makes sense to me.
He doesn't know the full story with Hatake anyway, and like no one's gonna leave before they know the full story, and that's probably why he's being still kind of. I mean, he's smart, so he's just being cordial with Hatake till he gets the answers that he wants. I do want to bring up a YouTube comment that we got last week that was really interesting.
Do.
Our fans are very, 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 very detail-oriented when it comes to previous episodes of this series.
Love that.
And they saw when the show first starts, there is a helicopter that lands, and of course the CDC gets off of it, but then there is someone who passes by the CDC and gets on the helicopter and flies out. So at this point, one of their theories was that perhaps this vector outbreak has been spread through that person throughout the world right now, or throughout various places in the world right now, and they really need a cure right now because they're trying to solve it before it starts affecting the people who are in charge.
Cool.
That's your season 2. Like how we heard it's going to be vastly different.
Yeah.
That's an instant way without having to like end the season with a vector like crawling across the Arctic or something.
Season 2 is actually Planet of the Apes.
So it's just like swimming continuously. I want to actually, I feel like if I can go on to now Sergio, his character is just like for the entire time I've been joking, he's not a good guy, he's not a good guy, he's not a good guy, because I'm still really PO'd at him for Doreen. But I'm so confused because he's kind of like, like, I told you can't trust me, and I'm the one who kidnapped the babies and the kids and da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's really funny, too, because he's like, I told you can't trust me. It's like, well, if you're saying to her that she can't trust you, but you're saying don't trust me, then that means she should trust you?
What? No. What?
It's just...
Yeah, no, let's map out this logic, because I'm lost.
I just think he's confusing me because he's admitting that he's not a good guy, in which no bad guys actually say that, so therefore he must be a good guy.
Liz, we only have 10 minutes. It's not enough time for double negatives.
Basically, Sergio is a guy who has been forced to do things he doesn't see as good, but he regrets them, which puts him into that middle like gray area where it's like, I know what I'm doing is bad, but I can't do it, or I have to do it. I can't stop it.
Right. We don't know what his motivation is yet, and I think as we learn more, we'll come to discover he's a guy just in a rough place.
I still don't know who he works for. I don't believe Ilaria is his only employer.
Because he asked her.
There's a third party that we haven't been privy to.
Okay.
Well, because he's like, you know who I work for. You know, like you know who I work for. They're not gonna kill me, but they'll kill you.
To me, I assumed it was the High Council at Ilaria.
That could have been Ilaria, but it feels like he's got another motive right now.
Guys, in the world of gods and men, there are always the god's servants who are men. So in the way you can view it is that Sergio is just a servant of the gods who is trying to rebel.
It's a very grand way of putting it, but I agree. I'm moving us on because we have to, because we have limited time, and we have a song to do, and we have the wonderful Neil Napier here.
Do we have time?
And we want to. Well, that's the big question, because I don't want to shortchange the interview. All right, so I think that kind of covers a lot of what went on this week. We'll talk more about it in predictions. Neil, I want to talk to you about your experiences working on the show. We've talked about it a little bit. When did you first hear about the show, and how did you come to be in the pilot?
Well, I auditioned for it, I guess, a couple of months, I guess, before it went down, or maybe a month. And I actually originally auditioned for Bioceros. And I had to try to sell the line in the audition when Doreen asks if he's Mexican. And so I just kind of played it like, whatever. No, and I knew I wasn't right for it, but I ended up getting called back for Peter. And my lovely wife, Paula Jean, and I were actually on the Oregon coast, and I did a self-tape on my iPhone in our hotel.
Oh, man.
And sent it in. I had just put an engagement ring on her finger on the beach the night before. And and then we got to work and shot an audition in the hotel room and sent that off.
Great weekend.
It was an awesome weekend. Yeah, it's the best weekend of my life. And then I guess about we got back to Montreal, and I was shooting on a film in Montreal, and I had to go back to just do a couple of scenes on that, and I was about to head back to Toronto, where we live now, and the casting agent wanted me to come in to back in to read again with and talk to Jeffrey Reiner, who directed the pilot, just to talk to him on the phone, and then just make a couple of adjustments to the scene. And then I guess about a week later, I remember it was a Tuesday night, they called me that I had booked it and asked me if I could be in Montreal the next day for wardrobe, and I was shooting that Sunday.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. And my first day of shooting was the first day of shooting on Helix, and that was that running down the hall. Yeah, so it was a bit of a whirlwind. Happened pretty quickly.
That's awesome.
Now, I know that you can't tell us anything about the show, but let me know if there's some way you can answer this. Have you talked to Cameron at all about the future of the character on the show? Because for the large part of the first season, you've been kind of out of commission. You're a very key role in the character relationships. You're obviously about to start playing a much bigger role in terms of the dynamics between the Vectors, the Silver Eyes, and the humans. Can you tell us anything about the arc of the character, or how it's going to open up potentially in season 2?
Yeah, without giving anything away, of course, that would kind of suck.
Yeah.
But I think for quite a while, not that they weren't sure what to do with Peter, but exactly how he fit into everything. It's, as we've seen the first, the middle episodes, we're talking a lot about Peter, but we don't see him too much. And yeah, things are about to get pretty weird up in the Arctic. Not that they aren't already weird, but they're really about to go off the rails, which is kind of cool. Yeah, you know how it is. But yeah, and Cameron and I have spoken a little bit about where, but it was a surprise. Every time I got a script, I'd read the script, and I'm like, am I still alive? Because we didn't know moving forward, right? It was kind of a need-to-know basis. And it just starts getting really twisty, and I think it's really fascinating where Peter ends up and where he goes. But in terms of where the story is going after this season, they've held their cards pretty close to their chest.
I'm sure.
I'm very curious. I had read at one point, I'm sorry, I cannot remember for the life of me where it was, but that Peter was originally supposed to die within like the first 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah. The original plan was it was 2 different characters.
I love that there's an original plan.
Well, yeah. Apparently Peter was 2
different characters.
Yeah. There was the brother, and then there was the other guy who was infected. And I don't know how the storylines went, but at one point in preliminary writing drafts, they decided to amalgamate those 2 characters and make the brother the infected one. And then I think
smart call in the long run.
Yeah, it's consolidating, right?
Yeah.
And and then I think he was supposed to die in 4 and then come back as a hallucination. That's as much as I knew of the character. So I think they kept him kind of as a bit of a wild card to see where the story was going. Right, because I don't think they hadn't written 13 episodes and then we set about shooting it. Because one of the beautiful things I think about episodic television is you can have an idea and then see what the actors and where the characters are going and build from that as it goes along. And I think we're seeing with Peter is he is a product of that. They really had this wild card in their pocket the whole time. And then, okay, let's see how the story opens up and where Peter's going to fit into it.
So until they figured out what to do with him, they kept Peter.
Put him on ice. Yeah,
literally.
Exactly.
Well, can you tell us if there's because I think, was it Zach? Somebody made a suggestion about, is it possible that everybody is originally from the lab because we don't know much about anybody's family backgrounds, how so-and-so met Julia, and they just keep on, and they just keep on talking about the abusive alcoholic, father. Is that going to come into play? Like, are we going to learn more about their background as kids in their relationship? Is that actually like important, constantly bringing up the alcoholic father, or?
Well, I think it informs our relationship. It's a real integral element of our relationship. But and I'm going to leave it just at that.
Okay.
Because that's all I really know about it.
Okay.
Fair enough. One of the things that I really love, because we're lucky enough that we've been able to talk to some of you on Twitter, and we've started to build a little bit of at the very least actor-fan relationship. And
we're BFFs. I don't know if Neil told me not to tell you guys, but we're
totally like this.
Yeah,
we're
I know
besties.
you're like that. But it's always cool when you interact with someone. They're not just on a show; they're a fan of the show that they're on, and I feel like you're very much a fan of the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I love it. I love watching it every week. And frankly, the past few episodes, I wasn't there a lot, right? So a lot of this it's not brand new to me, but I read the script once. And then I'll do my bit.
Yeah.
And so it's all like, oh yeah, this happens in this episode. And I find myself really being a fan of the show. My wife and I sit down every Friday night at 10 o'clock and watch it. And I love tweeting along with the fans who are awesome. Like, the fan interaction is amazing. But I can only do it at commercials.
Okay.
Like, I really, because I kind of get into it. And then if I start, I'm like, oh, damn it, I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I really love it. I'm pretty new to Twitter too.
Yeah.
But I'm loving the experience of interacting with the fans on this because they're amazing.
Yeah. Hashtags still confuse me. I do hashtags just for the sake of doing hashtags.
Just hashtag.
Hashtag
Ziz. We're going to make hashtag Ziz happen
All right.
for season 2. Can I ask you just one more thing?
Yeah.
I know it's a little ways off. Do you know yet if you guys are going to be heading up to Comic-Con in July?
In San Diego?
Yeah, San Diego.
I really hope so. I haven't gotten any word of it. I was just down there yesterday, and I'm like, boy, I hope I'm back here in July.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it would be great for the show, obviously. Our fans are already super loyal and super passionate. It would be great for them to be able to do it. So I hope so.
We should just go to Comic-Con if they're there and just like take a bunch of Hershey's syrup and just like drizzle it all over and just
Spit
go
it
as
everywhere.
vectors.
Yeah.
Just be vectors. Oh, I'll be at San Diego this year.
Play as vectors this year?
Oh my god.
We can get a group.
That'd be rad.
Red contacts.
I'm down.
Nice. Yeah,
I'm
get
down
some
with that.
contacts in. For
Okay.
Sure.
We've already pretty much done our predictions, Matt.
Yeah, pretty much. Do we want to do this song? Do we have time?
I think we have time.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm a producer, Matt. I can make time.
Wonderful.
All right.
So our very own Zach Wilson wrote up these wonderful lyrics to the comedy classic "I'm on a Boat" by The Lonely Island. And Neil is going to join us.
I've never in my life until just when I arrived here today heard this song, so I'm just going to try to follow Matt and
we have not rehearsed this at
Not
all.
rehearsed at all.
But it's just fine.
So
it's a podcast.
let's give it a shot.
No one's
Give it a go.
expecting perfection.
Give me 1 sec.
All right.
Yeah. You guys have the lyrics for you there too.
Yeah.
Oh wow, this is great.
Behind
Oh,
the
wait,
heads.
Oh, wait a minute, but is that...
That's not the actual.
Oh.
That's the actual song.
Yeah, that's the actual.
No, that's karaoke.
It's karaoke.
Is this karaoke?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but
It is,
the
it
lyrics
is.
there.
You
I'm
got
not,
it.
I'm not
We're-
looking
Don't
there.
look at the lyrics though.
Don't worry, we're just doing the stuff in parentheses.
Oh, so I shouldn't show you guys the lyrics.
It's okay. No,
Take
no,
it
no. It
away.
helps with rhythm.
Taking them away.
Oh,
Ziz!
Helix AFTERBUZZ, baby, it's about to go down.
Ziz, yeah!
We're recapping episode 8, Bloodline.
Bloodline, yeah!
So stay on your sci-fi loving toes. Back to chases, let's go.
Ziz!
But I'm on a base.
We're on a
Everybody's
base.
gonna die if they're infected in this base. I'm on a base.
We're on a base!
I'm on a base.
I'm on a base.
Trapped and locked down on this crazy
Wow.
freaking base.
Base, yeah!
I'm on a base with some vectors. Take a look at me. Trying my best to stop the Ziz CDC. Sarah and Alan trying. They can't crack the case. Pretty sure there's an evil plot that's afoot here on this base.
Dan found out he's a twin.
Twin!
Get off this base, Dan.
Dan!
His name is Mixon, now he's mad, and he needs a plan.
Plan!
Hatake's hiding stuff, and Alan's in the dark. Doreen, we miss you, your awesome lines of monkey snark. The theories are flying out, guesses everywhere. Novics wreaking havoc, giving everybody this is. What's this hypothesis that they call a list? There's something evil going on, quite ominous. I'm on a base and Julia's cured and her eyes are silver. What is up with that, man? Hatake's Julia's dead, but she does not know. I'm addicted to Helix, really love this show. Turn the volume up, this just got real.
I'm on a base with some vectors. With some
Beth P ran away with some vectors.
Vectors.
It looks like they might be getting smart via the vectors.
Yeah.
Hatake's got a plan to deal with the vectors.
Oh, Pete, if you can see him now. Mixing chemicals in this Arctic lab. Gonna find off the wave-based He play God, anything is possible.
Yeah, never gonna get off this base.
Let's go.
It's an infinite wasteland of snow.
Yeah. That's it, guys.
I can't.
You cut it right before my one part in this damn song.
I have the original lyrics from it's the actual lyrics from the boat.
It's got both. It's got both.
That's why we folded
Guys,
this.
I think we were clipping audio a lot of that. So
I know.
I just needed to end
Zach
it.
was rushing.
I can't.
It's all right.
He was so excited.
I know. We're all so stoked.
I was just trying to keep up.
Hey, Neil, we got to kick you out of the band.
Boat.
Yeah, all right, good. No, I don't blame you at all.
No.
We should have done Silver Eyes.
Eat that
next
apple.
week.
He's gonna have to
Next week.
survive without you.
Ladies, gentlemen, can we settle, please? Okay. Yeah. No. Let's do predictions. Come on. Give me the sound effect.
All right.
I love the
I'll
sound
give you the
effect.
sound
Make
effect.
time.
Yeah.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
It's pretty cool, right?
It is kind of cool.
Flashy lights.
High tech.
All right.
Fun fact: we've only killed 3 people with Caesars.
Yeah. So, Liz, next week, thoughts, prayers, hopes?
I'm really excited, not just because Neil, you're here, but I'm very excited that we're going to see Peter again. I wonder if, I want to see how the vectors have progressed, how they function. Will they even talk? And then what's the showdown that's going to happen? I think we might find out more about Sergio and his background.
Yep.
And basically, I'm really stumped. This episode stumped me. I have no idea what's going to happen at this point. This is part of the reason why I love this show so much.
Great. Zach.
I think we're going to find out that Peter has a lot more control over the other vectors than he has previously. I think he's going to be discovering that he is some sort of like semi-silver, if you will.
Interesting.
Like because he's got the first half of it. He doesn't have whatever Julia got injected with.
He's the only one who got injected with Narvik A and B.
Yeah.
What?
The thing is supposed to
Sodra.
cure Sodra.
Yeah, I think so.
Sodra.
Maybe he starts to take the vectors and put them in a position. This is wild theory that like maybe now Hatake and Julia cannot control the vectors.
That'd be cool.
Theory.
Wild theory.
Wild.
Yeah. Steven.
I don't know. I think it's interesting that that the vector was going for the food. I think there was more to that than just trying to infect all the food. I think that lower level they're going to be catacombing it out to kind of build up a force. They probably wanted the food to take the food down to lower level. They know that Peter is progress and they want to steal him to lead them to fight everybody.
Also, didn't they say in the preview for next week's episode that like all of them were just gone? Like out of
they're in that lower level is what I they say that.
So
okay.
I also think that the end of the season will show Sergio martyring himself to blow up the base.
Okay, I like this prediction. We'll ask Mark Ganame on Wednesday. I think we're going to see Peter in kind of the locutus position, like a Star Trek The Borg, and Captain Picard was made the emissary of the Borg. Regardless,
your dork is showing.
It is. It's a large dork. Thank you. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm so excited. I'm so glad that you were able to come out and do this, Neil. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my
for
pleasure.
coming on the show.
I love the show. I gave it a 5-star rating when I was in iTunes.
Thank
I think
you.
everyone should. Again.
All right.
That's right.
It was a brilliant time.
All right. A big thank you to Neil. So we're going to be doing the interview with Mark Ganame on Wednesday. It should be posted by Wednesday night. Hopefully I'm not perjuring myself when I say that, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Big thanks again to Neil. Where can the people find you online, Neil?
I am at Neil Napier. That is my Twitter handle, and I'm lurking around the interweb.
Okay. Do you have anything else that you want to plug while you're here? Anything else anyone can check out?
X-Men will be coming out in May, and I got a cool little part in X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
So check that out.
Can you tell us who you are? Nope.
All right.
It's
it's a little part, but it's pivotal and it's cool.
Sweet.
Yes, and it was a lot of fun. So I think May 18th or whatever.
I think that's right.
Memorial Day weekend, is that?
I think that's right. I think May 18th.
Check your local listings.
Okay. Liz, where can the people find you?
Hey everyone, you can find me on Twitter at Lizzie Maui. That's LIZZYMAWY, and you can find me on Instagram at the same thing. Yeah.
Okay, Zach Wilson.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ThatZachWilson, and also here at AfterBuzz on Grim, Archer, and Almost Human.
Yeah, and also the new Resurrection podcast.
Yeah, coming up soon in a few weeks.
March 9th. Okay, Steven?
You can find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, STPHENLEMIUX, or here weekly doing the Helix After Show and pushing us 15 minutes after with shenanigans.
Yeah, okay. So, he's already going to hate me. I have a lot of stuff to say. If you want to follow me... Never mute me again. I'll make this show last forever. If you want to follow me on Twitter, and I imagine that you do, you're very intelligent, you can find me on Twitter at Matt Lieberman. That's MATTLIEBERMAN. You can also find me here on AfterBuzz TV on a bunch of great stuff. Almost Human with Zach Wilson. Got another sci-fi show, Lost Girl, that I do. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Banshee on Cinemax. Thank you. Justified, Cougar Town. And I'm going to be on that Resurrection show with Zach.
And if you like the comedy of Matt Lieberman and you like hearing him rap, we just released a video, 99 Problems But Sochi Ain't One.
Yes, we just released...
you can find it on both of our Twitter feeds or...
my Twitter.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
Liz posted it as well. It is a fun little sketch, a parody song about the
Matt
Winter
and
Olympics.
I collaborated on. Check it out.
Yeah, he did great work on it. You should check that out. Also, if you're in LA and you love live comedy, you can come see me perform at the I.O. West Comedy Theater on Hollywood Boulevard. That's 6366 Hollywood Boulevard. Sunday, March 9th at 9 p.m. I'm going to be performing as a member of DJ Fawcett. We just won the Sketch Cage Match Championship as a part of the LA Scripted Comedy Fest. We're doing a great show. If you're in LA, check it out. Another big thanks to Neil Napier for joining us. We will be back on Wednesday and then next Monday with our regularly scheduled podcast.
You can also find Matt on the Matt Plugs Himself podcast.
If we start that podcast, I will totally make it at least 45 minutes long. Just saying.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.